What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One Set. What's up, everybody? How we doing? Welcome back to another episode of the One Set podcast. I'm Jim Green, along with my best friend, my co-host, Anthony Irvin. Anthony, what's happening, brother?
nothing much, man. Another week, another dollar. Yeah. Fun week, fun weekend. Lots of stuff going on, and I just have to say I'm stoked with how things have been going this past week on the wrestling front. Uh, we're gonna get into it, but we've been saying a lot that how some of the things have been a little the storylines and some things have been a little stale because I feel this time last year we had like the Cody storyline going with the Rock and Roman, and I feel like this year it's not the same because you don't have Cody chasing this year. He's a champion, so there's a lot of differences, but like we haven't had that like spark of like something similar to last year. But now I feel like we're starting to get a couple things brewing out of the last couple like from what Raw was today, the last international show, and then we're getting back into the States later this week. By the time this comes out, it'll be Friday. We're gonna have Friday back in the States in Chicago, and then previous week of SmackDown, seemed to have a couple things that were starting to really brew a lot of storylines to start really sparking a lot of fires. But yeah, we're going to get into it tonight, and we have a couple things we wanted to talk about with the whole card in general. But I'm stoked. WrestleMania is closer and closer as we get to it, man.
Yeah, and like I said last week, I think it's going to get here pretty damn quick. Just
Yeah.
We both have like kind of busy stuff going on leading up to Mania itself. So it's I know this weekend I'm at competition. Next weekend is kind of like another like do things around the new place kind of thing, which gotta say thank you to you and your dad and
Yeah, you're welcome.
And our friend Matt Holland too for helping us out on Saturday, move a couple heavier pieces of furniture. We're basically settled in for the most part here. Still feels like we're in an Airbnb. Like it doesn't feel like we're in our own place.
Yeah,
but,
man, I hear you.
Yeah. Outside
it doesn't
of that,
feel real until like that first, bill comes in. Just like even with apartment stuff, like it doesn't feel real until like you start getting like the bills coming through and everything. But yeah, like I gotta say, definitely happy for you guys. The place looks great. Congratulations. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, bro.
Can't wait to have some fun times over there.
Dude, I'm learning the Blackstone, right? Like, so
yeah, man.
I'm Matt.
Definitely gonna be getting some lessons from you because the Blackstone is like a holy grail for like grill master people, dude.
Yeah, I did burgers and dogs first night, and then I did eggs and bacon and sausage, just simple, like just simple the next morning. And I'm such a breakfast nerd, so I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage. It was so easy and
perfect.
Just I think part of it is mental because you're like, all right, this just came off the Blackstone. And I was like, this is so freaking good, right? But it just hits different doing it outside on a grill rather than in your kitchen, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And now that, we're getting into the warmer weather, we're still having, some colder mornings, but like it's warming up during the day. We're hitting that type of like era right now in the year where it's still a little chilly, but then it warms up to like 70. Sometimes we're hitting 80 at this point, and then the nights are still a little cold. But this is like the time of year where it's starting
It's
to get you that
it's
much more excited for like late spring, early summer.
it's time to break out the grill, right? Like it's
Yes, it is
that time of
definitely
year.
a cool entry to get that grill out there, start getting it all cleaned up and everything for the season for sure. Yes.
Yeah, that that deck life. I mean, moving into this place at this time of year and getting that Blackstone is like this just made my whole summer coming up. Like it's going to be so awesome.
The
I
stars have aligned.
they yes. um, I am not a grill master. Like the grill is a man's, like the man of the house. That's his job. You and I talked about this
Mhm.
off air last week. How
Yeah.
you said when your dad comes over and he tries to get in there, you're like, you're like,
Wait a minute.
wait a minute. Um, yeah, that's going to be interesting when I have my parents over and my dad tries to get in there. I'll be like, you got your own,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, you you
Let me
you
cook for you.
let me cook for you. Just sit down.
Yeah, sit down.
Sit down. Definitely ain't gonna talk to my dad like that, but
Yeah, no.
not even.
What are you, crazy? Like
Early grave right there, right? But yeah, I'm excited for my parents to come over and be able to grill for them.
Mhm.
That's gonna be like my first time ever. I've lived at other places, but not anywhere with a deck or a space to be able to grill. So, um, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Outside of the personal life stuff, because don't want to talk
Mhm.
too much about that. On the wrestling front,
Yeah. Yeah.
we really wanted to dive this week into this year's build and talk about this
Yes.
year's build because, like you said, we had Cody and The Rock that was like hitting on all cylinders at least every other week last year, right?
Yeah. It was just
Uh,
like fire after fire, just like it just kept building every week and like something new. Not that, it's not watchable right now. Like I think like you were saying off air with the international tour, there's a reason for it and the crowds have been eating every second of these things up, but you know, it's just something about the builds for a lot of these things that not every single build has a spark and I don't think every single story has to be banger, but like your two main ones obviously, and I think the big thing with everybody is saying like the Jey Uso and Gunther is like the biggest, like because they're not going to be headlining, and the thing around the internet wrestling world is like, well, it's like one of the first uh, years or in a long time that the Rumble winners are not going to be main eventing the Mania, but there have been previous years where that has happened. But I think the fact that Jey Uso has been so in this over this last year that it's almost like he's getting screwed over again, that he's not getting the main event. So it's now determining people to think that he may not be winning at Mania, which I'm still 50-50 at this point. I'm still on the fence that he will get it, but there is that also doubt that, they might just be, giving Gunther, the title just because, maybe the build didn't work out to what they thought, and people are still eating up Jey Uso, but there's just something that either they're trying to make him the underdog and it's not working out the way they wanted to, but in my opinion, I think they're doing the right thing by not making it the main event, because I don't think it's main event quality. I think the triple threat is the way to go, because you got Roman, CM Punk, and Seth, who are main event quality, and you're getting CM Punk having his first main event, in WrestleMania. So that has been a lot more, you know, self worthy than the Jey Uso and Gunther build, in my opinion.
yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I actually think what happened on Raw tonight this week with like basically what we laid out last week was Gunther needs to
Hmm.
lay waste to Big Jimmy Uso,
Yes.
and I thought it was going to happen in the match. I actually loved the way that they did this tonight on Raw,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like having Gunther go for the pin and then pull Jimmy up, and then go for the
Yep.
pin, pull Jimmy up, and then pin him. He puts the belt on, and he goes like the fact that he put the belt on. I was like, all right, maybe he's just gonna walk away, and then he turned around, and
Right.
I was like, here we go, right?
Yep.
And I was like, well,
Did the same thing.
I was like, if he just puts him in the chokehold, then obviously Jay's coming out. And then I was like, oh,
Hmm.
what? Then Gunther just retreats. Sure enough. And then they went to commercial, and I was like, really? That's all that they did. And then they came back from commercial, and then Gunther ran in and attacked them, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. And then we got the zip ties on Jay,
Hmm.
and then he had to watch the beat down. Cheyenne's sitting here because Gunther's painting himself with Jimmy's blood, and he
Hmm.
licks it, and she goes, just like horrified, and
Ew.
I was like, that's clearly fake blood. He wouldn't be actually licking Jimmy Uso's real blood, okay? Like
Right.
this is where it's fake, and you can say,
Ew.
and by fake I mean it's the story that they're building. The real stuff,
Mm.
the I have it on replay, and literally came back from commercial, and there's Gunther, boom, double close.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect timing.
perfect timing. Any rate, it was perfect, and I mean, when Jay ran into the ring and went to take down Gunther with the belt on his waist, I was like, I bet he hit his head on the title belt. And then
Mm.
Gunther's going to run away, and you see Jay's face with the cuts on the side. I was like, he really cut his face on that belt, which they didn't think about, obviously. But
Probably not. No.
now I am, as I'm sure you are, just waiting to see how Jay reacts to this the next two Monday Night Raws, and
Yes.
I it makes me feel like Gunther brutalizing Jimmy the way he did makes me feel like Jey Uso's going to win the title at Mania.
The probability of that definitely went up after seeing that, and like you said, it just now depends on how he reacts to it, because when we're saying last week that this is what needs to happen, and obviously we got uh Gunther just beating the hell out of Jimmy, and just laying him out on the line, and we thought Jay was going to get an upper hand with this, but I do like how he was not able to help his brother, and he just had to watch him get like brutally
Brutalized.
beaten down.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, now all this stuff is brewing, it's just adding that fuel to the flame. Now we have to see Jay come out next week, guns blazing, do
And just
something.
crack him with a
And
chair a few times, like
yeah, and he has to have,
the
if
comeuppance.
not next week, the go home show, he has to have a come up on it, like just tearing down Gunther at this point.
Yep.
Because if not, you know, I still think he could be winning at this point, but he needs that upper hand for people to believe this is going to happen. You know,
Yeah, you Triple H has, I think tonight was brilliant. Triple H has to give the audience some reason to believe that Jay can do this, right? Like everything up
yeah,
until this point is, man, Jay looks weak. Jay, like, which is
uh-huh,
crazy because after the Rumble and before he declared for Gunther, he was that over, right? To the point where
mm-hmm,
I was like, well, he's not going to challenge Cody, so it's almost certainly going to be him versus Gunther. But like, I, I, I really don't want Gunther to drop the title personally,
mm-hmm,
just because I'm a pretty big fan of Gunther, have been since his
yeah,
NXT UK days.
Since his Walter days.
But and dude, I know you don't watch LFG, right?
I haven't consistently, and I have to, find time to sit down and watch more of those because I say every Sunday, I'm like, I gotta watch it tonight. I gotta watch it tonight. But it's always around the time where I'm putting the kids to bed. And by the
And
time
then
I'm like, either I'm passing out for the rest of the night or, lately it's just been me practicing or having something else on my mind. And then I totally forget about it.
mhm.
But I do need to, I can go back and rewatch it, but I just have to find time to actually be like, hey, okay, sit down for like an hour, fast through a lot of commercials, and just catch up on these episodes. Because the one episode that I did catch, I really liked it.
Yeah, so this past Sunday, Gunther was like the guest superstar on the show, and it was
Yeah,
awesome, dude. The way that he just looked at all of those like wrestlers that are like the trainees, not the
yeah,
trainees, yeah, the trainees, and just he was literally talking down to them, just like you ain't shit. Like it
yeah.
was,
I love the clip where he was basically saying like, oh yeah, because I'm gonna give it my all, and I'm gonna do it. Like nobody cares about if you're gonna give it your all. It's the matter of like proving yourself, and there's like nobody cares how hard you're gonna try, you know.
are you
So
going
that
to
was like,
sell? Are you going to sell tickets? Yes or no? Like that's literally
right.
all they care
And
about.
that's like end of the day, like, yeah, I mean, it's either you're putting butts in the seat or you're not, you know. So he definitely gives a lot. It was almost like he played the Triple H card in Tough Enough, where he gave the a lot of those wrestlers like the innuendo of like, hey, if you're in this for, getting girls and having the fun nights and traveling everything, you're not in this for the right reason.
And you ain't
I've been
gonna
here
last.
doing this for I've been here the last couple of years busting my ass every night because I love this business and I'll do it until I can no longer. And he's like, because when you disrespect this, you're disrespecting all these wrestlers that came before you, the ones that are not here, the ones that are paralyzed. And so I think Gunther was playing that card of like, hey, this is a reality check for you guys.
Yeah, and the only difference there is Triple H was really intense, and Gunther is just straightforward, and his like stoic way of being and just the way that he talks to people is so direct
Hmm.
and forward. It's just like they all just stood there and took it from him, and I was like, "This
Yeah.
is this is great." I mean, Booker T, Bubba Ray, there's and even Taker, they're standing there and are just like this guy knows what's up. Like and
Right.
and then you get to see the trainees like do the matches and then get critiqued after the fact, and then
Hmm.
they they pick a winner who gets the point and all that. CM Punk was the week before, and it was, I mean, obviously his thing was getting them to cut a promo, right?
Yeah.
Um, I get it, Sunday night, and you're putting the kids down, and you're trying to get sleep before the start of your work week.
Hmm.
When your schedule changes and your shift changes over, and you aren't working Mondays, you'll definitely be able to catch up on that, which is in the next couple weeks, so to speak, right?
Yeah, because I feel it's not towards the end yet. There is still a good amount of people on the show still, right?
Yeah, no, nobody's getting eliminated off the show, so it's
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
It's I don't know how many episodes that they're doing. I know that the second season is already like a thing.
Gotcha.
They already gave Mickey James the boot because Undertaker said, "Well, I'll come back for season 2 if you bring my wife on board." So they were like,
Mm,
"Anna Michelle McCool, Mickey James, toodles, right
out. Yeah.
out." I was just,
Toodles. Yeah.
I was like, okay, Taker playing politics,
Right.
but is what it is. Who doesn't want the Undertaker on that show, right? Like, come on.
Oh yeah.
So outside of that, Gunther is awesome. Um, I'm gonna be happy if Jey Uso wins, and gets his first main title. If Gunther retains, I'm gonna be good with it too. I'm just gonna be like, what do you do with Jey Uso now?
Yeah.
But I said that when Cody Rhodes lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 and was like, what do you do with Cody if he loses?
Mm-hmm.
They made it work, right? It's just curious. Like, part of me doesn't feel like Gunther loses the Intercontinental title to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 40, and then Gunther loses the World Heavyweight Championship to Jey Uso at WrestleMania 41. Like, something about that doesn't feel correct. But again, Jey Uso not winning doesn't feel correct either. So I'm
Because
curious to see how
we
that
had
pans out.
said for like the last couple weeks and like even the beginning of this that if Jay does not win at Mania, his whole
Momentum is going to get shot
momentum
down.
just goes all the way down like this to the point where it's almost just going to kill this thing. And he could eventually get back up from it, but there's no way that he's just going to keep that momentum if he loses. So he's definitely going to wait. He's just definitely going to go way down if he loses. I'm hoping he does, because just for the fact that it's going to give him the check off from the whole being over and the whole storyline that just being the underdog in general. But yeah, it's going to be tough to see how they continue to book Jay if he loses.
Yeah, but if anything, I am excited to see what they do with the build to that match. The next two Monday Night Raws.
It's going to be crucial for it, for sure.
Yeah, but everything up until this point has been very like they're just treading lightly, and it like had a lot of us really losing interest in that match. Like I didn't really care about it. But once last week happened, they had Jimmy Uso on Raw and they set up for the match. And we called this last week. We literally called it, but the way that they did it was absolutely perfect in my opinion. I was like, okay, they did the job, and like I'm here for it and I'm ready. Let's talk about this triple threat match. And by triple threat match, I do mean the CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns match.
Yeah, let's do that.
So they did the contract signing on SmackDown to close out the show, right?
Yeah.
Roman Reigns comes out. He's talking on his own, just noting that Paul Heyman is really not talking. Just like a little detail that I'm picking up on, and I'm like, he's not saying anything when Roman's in the ring. Roman is taking command on his own, which seems to be foreshadowing that Heyman is like Roman is literally breaking away from Paul, because Roman Reigns does not need Paul Heyman anymore. Like,
he doesn't anymore. Yeah,
that's telling in itself. It's like, okay, it's been 5 years of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, and Roman is at the level of stardom that he can literally ride on his own, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Roman has hit that point where it was good that he had, Heyman as his side piece, as, a second mic person, because Roman has definitely gotten way better on the mic than what he used to be. But yeah, I think to the point where if Heyman does go away from Roman, it's not going to affect him too much, because he's already at that top level where he should be able to, continue riding this wave without Heyman. Now, the thing is, where does Heyman go? Does he go to CM Punk? Again, talking about the
favor.
IWC, the favor, but also before we get into the favor, the whole thing this week and what we talked about in our friend chat was the fact that what if Heyman goes to Seth? That's been the big thing around the internet,
the big
too.
swerve.
That would be the biggest swerve. If they're really thinking that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. I don't know that Seth Rollins needs Paul Heyman per se, but just storyline wise, to make Seth to to make Seth interesting going forward, because Seth Rollins has kind of been doing his own thing and doing it well. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
discounting him, but just to give him another layer of interest and story build in his
Yes.
character arc, um, I don't think it would hurt, even for a year, 2 years
Not at all.
tops. I don't see it going
Mm-hmm.
beyond 2 years. Um,
No.
I don't I don't know how much longer Heyman wants to be on TV like that, honestly. Um, but who knows? Maybe he does, right? I I do
Yeah.
I I don't I don't think that triple threat match needs stakes, like so many people are saying. This match needs stakes to be the main event. I think that I posted in the One Set fan group this morning saying, what do you think the favor is? And I'm really enjoying, and Anth, I know you and I have talked about this, so I should rather say we are really enjoying the engagement that we're getting there. We have a small amount of people in that conversation thread group on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. But we've been loving the feedback that we're getting. So if you aren't a part of that group, you definitely want to check it out. One Set Fam on Facebook. It We have links to it on our One Set
Yes.
Facebook page. Um, Definitely get in on the conversation. Um, our buddy Steve Kopic definitely chimed in. We love Steve. He,
Yes.
I, based off of reading his message, he seems to think that we're getting this triple threat again at next year's WrestleMania with a title on the line. I mean, it kind of feels like, where do these guys go without each other? Except for I do think that we're getting The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year.
Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencaster. Zencaster is the ultimate based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply one click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layer backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencaster's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to Zencaster.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experience as we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
I could definitely see a Punk and a Roman match with a title down the line as well. I mean, I can see it either way, like with a Seth and Roman or a Punk and Roman. But yeah, as far as a favor, I think it definitely has something on the lines of that. Obviously, Punk wants a title opportunity, whether it's coming from Cody or if Roman gets that belt back within this next year and a half. That Punk wants to get that belt one more time before even he hangs it up.
Yep.
Because, you know, Punk is, probably not going to be around for much longer either. So he definitely would say, I want one more run with this belt before I hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But I can see how Steve was thinking forward to next year, which, again, great stuff, Steve. Thank you for, being involved in the chat. And yeah, but I still think we have yet to really dial in what that favor is, which is great because then we can continue to, figure out different scenarios of what it's going to be.
Yeah,
So and knowing that it's not predictable.
the speculation's been fun. And by fun, I mean the favor was very like seldomly mentioned on TV up until the past month, like the build to Mania, right? And now
Hmm. Hmm.
I thought the segment that closed out SmackDown was really nice. Like it was a really nice way
I agree.
for because we have Roman and CM Punk
Mm,
they're kind of in cahoots, and Seth is the odd man out where he's like Paul Heyman tells CM, "You're getting to headline WrestleMania on Saturday night," and
yeah.
he's getting him like CM Punk's getting emotional. Seth is freaking out. He said, "This absolutely cannot happen. He cannot. Like I swore that I would do everything in my being to make sure that he would not." And now Seth is in
Right.
that match with him against his will. But it I feel like for me the favor feels like he wants Paul Heyman to be his exclusive wise man, right? Like
Yeah. I think in another fact that he wants Heyman to be, you know,
his special
his
counsel
advisor or a
and
special counsel type of thing. He wants to take that thing away from Roman
yeah. So
and really test the waters on Roman if he can operate without, Heyman by his side.
so this is why Roman being kind of chill with CM was like a cool thing, and then Punk was, you know, acknowledging his tribal chief, and then and like he's
Hmm.
giving him all the flowers, and then he's like, "But that's not the favor," and then walks away, and then and then we're out of here.
I
We gotta
thought that was
go.
perfect.
It was perfect
Yep, I thought that
because
was perfect. Just leave it go. That's not the favor, and then it just continues to keep you questioning. Well, if it's not that, what is it then?
it it
And I don't
it
think we're gonna get any other, maybe one other clue, but I don't think it's gonna erupt until obviously that Mania night in that match. I think we're
I
gonna find out, or we'll find out,
the Friday right
the
before.
Friday right before, or it could even be something of an explanation after, like the Friday after the Mania, leading into SmackDown, the SmackDown after Mania.
I don't know. I think the favor is going to come into the picture right before Mania just to give that match um
Hmm.
the elevated stakes per se. And
Right.
like for some reason I feel like the stakes are going to be the winner gets Paul Heyman as the special counsel, as
Yeah.
the exclusive. And to me it just feels like Seth Rollins is going to get that, and then it sets up the Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman situation. Like
Hmm.
that to me would be telling because CM Punk gets his WrestleMania main event finally, but Seth Rollins is the one that comes out on top, getting Paul Heyman in the end, and then we get that giant swerve, and the swerve could be that Heyman literally turns on Roman and Punk to help Rollins win the match, like
Hmm.
to form that alliance, like that. I could see it going that way, and I could be totally wrong. Like I don't know, but I feel like it could pan out that way. Um, the match itself, I am excited to see the match. I at first when I
Hmm.
heard that they were potentially thinking about that, I was like, it feels kind of lazy. But I was like, what else are you doing? There's no Rock wrestling at WrestleMania this year, and you've got
Yep.
Cody Rhodes and John Cena tied up over here. So what do you do with these three guys? You just put them together. I think
Yeah.
it's I think it's going to be great. And again, like you said, I think we get CM Punk versus Roman Reigns out of it down the line. Um, maybe at SummerSlam, but I do feel like Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the title at SummerSlam is probably the move assuming John Cena is beating Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I mean,
Right.
that seems like the natural path. That way you get the title off of Cena in the summer. You get Roman with the belt. Maybe we get Roman defending against CM Punk at Royal Rumble next year,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get Roman defending against The Rock at Mania next year.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then again, we've talked at length about how that match doesn't need the title. But if you want to go all out with that match, just get the title in the match, and then it's for like the stakes for our all time high, right?
Yeah.
Let's.
Mm-hmm.
You good to get out of that triple threat match?
Yeah, like I said, I agree with you that there's nothing wrong with the match in general. I'm stoked for the match. It's gonna be like a great stellar match. It's just I can see where there's some holes that it can kind of be like this, like it's a little lackluster, but you got potentially like three of the top wrestlers in the company just going into a triple threat, and I don't, again, you don't need a belt for that because all those guys sell the match as it is.
Yeah.
But as far as what comes out of this, when it comes to the favor, I still think it has something to do with, he
Number
wants
one.
Paul to guarantee Punk a championship opportunity, because now that he's main eventing, he wants that belt back, and then hopefully he can get back to main eventing Mania with that belt with him this time, because you always want more after you've gotten the first goal. You always want to go your next biggest goal.
Right.
So yeah, I think Punk wants the championship belt, whoever it's going to be on, after this Mania gets taken care of for him. He definitely is going to start thinking gold. So hopefully that's something along the lines. Be interesting to have something that's a swervy situation in that too. But I think on a safe and simple side, he wants a title defense, or not a title defense. He wants a title opportunity down the line, so he can get that belt back for sure.
Yeah, and realistically, that I don't think that they would be going after the WWE Championship. I feel like they would be going after the World Heavyweight Championship, because like you have Seth and CM Punk on Raw, right? Roman is like, yeah, he's technically on SmackDown, but I feel like he's kind of like Brock Lesnar, where he's going to be free floating from one show to the other.
He could definitely go
thing.
both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, because whether it's Cody Rhodes or John Cena, it certainly seems like whoever wins that is defending against Randy Orton at Backlash in St. Louis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and again, Backlash is promoting Cena and Orton right now, so that's also kind of saying to the fact that John might get the win out of it. And since we're talking about that, let's segue into that, like how the Cody and Cena match are going. I was saying in the beginning the fact that I think Cody works better as a chaser than he has as being a champion. And I think that's what's missing in this thing is Cody's not chasing this year. He's already the champion. He already has the goal in mind. It's more this year he's trying to keep that goal, and he's trying to keep that momentum going. He definitely has some momentum, but not like last year where he had the whole like arena just, right behind him. So that more and so leads me to think that Cena will take the belt off him, and then we get Cody chasing him to some extent. Probably not for the full rest of the time that Cena is there, but I think Cody will come back into the situation. Might take a little bit of time off. He comes back, and you see the chase between him and Cena. So, uh, if you're going in that route, I think that might be the safer route because, you know, other than that, if you're just gonna do a simple, hey, Cody does this, Cena's in here, and if you don't give Cena the win and you just let Cody do it, I think you're gonna get a rematch down the line anyway. But yeah, I think we're gonna see Cody get dethroned. He might take a little bit of time off. He comes back for his revenge, and we get something going down in the December time of the last pay-per-view for John Cena. It could be Cena and Cody 2.0, and Cody gets over on this one. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd be good with it.
What do you think about
Well,
your thoughts on the Cena and Cody feud right now?
well, I think that tonight was much more interesting. I was
Yeah,
fine with
definitely
the
think they hit the best promo out of the three.
right. Well, Cody interrupting Cena like before Cena even began on his spiel was great,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Definitely.
I thought there were really excellent shots fired. Like definitely was sitting here going, "Oh, okay, that was really really good." Cody Rhodes winds up laying out Cena
Yeah.
with the crossroads, so I'm like, all right, so Cody got the first upper hand after the Elimination
Yep.
Chamber beatdown, right? Which, yeah, it just feels like we're gonna get Cody Rhodes getting taken out at Mania, like, and I think that
Yeah.
having Cena in this heel role where it's like, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, like, we're gonna get Cena winning one more time at Mania. It's gonna be number
Mm-hmm.
17. But I think with The Rock involved, with Travis Scott involved, I think it's gonna be a brutal ending to WrestleMania rather than
Yeah.
the happy-go-lucky send-off that we all got last year, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be like that this year. I think we're gonna have a couple upset kids at this one.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. But that
Mainly
just
my son, most
yeah,
likely, if so. But
yeah, Cheyenne's gonna hate it because she's like, I
like I said, I think it's gonna be better for Cody's situation right now because, you know, he's been a great champion, but again, I will reiterate the fact that I think he's better at chasing it rather than keeping it.
I agree.
Because, you know, he's a great wrestler, but he's not doing anything to convince you uh, that he's deserving to stay in the position he is instead of just or on the fact because he has, you know, the expensive suits and has the kicks of the song gestures and everything, that's just going to keep him going. But how Cena was saying that, you know, without all those, you strip down the music, you strip down the gimmick, you're basically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked how Cody came back at him, and I think Cody had probably the best mic work out of this as
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah, and usually my philosophy is sometimes the first person who takes the first blow is most likely that person is losing.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, this is like a 60-40 where Cody probably has a little bit of the upper hand. Excuse me. Cody might have a little bit of the upper hand, but also at the same time, he might just be losing. He takes a month or two off, and we get him chasing Cena after the Orton match. Cody comes back, and you know he wants to start chasing Cena after this, and then we get, you know, more Cena and Cody down the line up until the last month of this year. Cody gets the thing back or somebody else. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be the thing that's just lacking in it, that the fact that we're not used to seeing Cody in a championship role. We're usually used to seeing him being the chaser. So
Yeah, the only other thing I can think to make it interesting is if they can somehow orchestrate a double turn where Cody turns heel during the match and Cena goes face in the match at Mania, and then Cena wins and he is face. But all of that heel build that we're getting now will just have been for nothing, right?
For nothing. Yeah. I think Jem on the same page was like, well, do you think Cody still has a chance of turning heel? And at the time, I was like, well, no, he probably wouldn't be heel because Cena has already, you know, taken up the heel persona and he's just going full circle with it. So, how you would enter Cody being a heel in that uh, would be interesting to see because I don't have an idea for that.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be able to orchestrate it during the match. I more so see Cody taking a couple months off and then coming back, and then they do a heel turn after he comes back, and then Cena winds up turning
Right.
face, and then you have them facing off against each other, but the roles are flipped, kind of thing. Not until later
Hmm.
down the line. I also can see Cena winning and him coming out on Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania and saying, like, he comes out without the title and he's like, title's at home. I told y'all I was going to win it and I was going to take it home.
Hmm.
And then you get Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton at Backlash for the number one contendership for John Cena. And then that way Cena's not at the Backlash PLE, which I don't really think is going to happen because Cena's being advertised for Backlash right now, right?
Yeah.
But this all goes back also to if the winner of that if Jey Uso versus Gunther isn't main eventing night one, that triple threat match, I feel like the winner could be the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, which to me,
Right.
any one of those guys versus Jey Uso isn't really doing it for me, other than Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Okay, like, sure.
Hmm.
But if Gunther retains, then we would either get Seth Rollins versus Gunther, CM Punk versus Gunther, or Roman Reigns versus Gunther, and I want to see all three of those freaking matches. Like, so, um,
Yeah.
if that stipulation gets added to the match, I'll be like, oh, cool. The night one main event is actually a number one contenders match
Hmm.
for the world heavyweight title, which isn't that match isn't happening on night two unless it does. Unless it gets added, who knows? Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't. If they wound up doing that, then I don't see Jey Uso winning. I see Gunther retaining and then dropping it the next night.
Hmm.
If they do that, I don't know. Maybe. I feel like
Yeah.
that number one contendership match, that number one contendership, the winner of that triple threat, that match will be set up for Backlash.
Hmm.
I think. Unless they do it the Raw the Monday night after WrestleMania, which I would be like, wow, way to get people to tune in the Raw after WrestleMania. That would be pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
Anth, what else did we want to tap into?
We can talk about the two women's matches real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we can talk about the Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, and then the triple threat. Just briefly go over those, but just quickly, we do want to give a shout out to eWrestling News. We saw I happened to see this on another Facebook post, so I felt this was something that would be good to talk about this week since we're that much more closer. We have the main builds going on, and uh the person from this group was basically just giving his thoughts on I'm just going to read a little excerpt from saying like something feels off about the build to WrestleMania 41. I'm here to figure out why. Some moments have been good, quote, quote, sure, but when it comes to WWE's success in Las Vegas, good simply isn't enough. And then he goes off to talk about Jey Uso, Charlotte Flair and Tiff, then the women's triple threat, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, Seth, and then, finally Cody and Cena, which we have gone over and we've kind of been, dissecting a lot of those, but now just giving, uh, the actual page a little shout out. So that's E Wrestling News. Anybody wants to, go on Facebook and, check them out, feel free. Just tell them the One Step Bros sent you. But, thanks for the post, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, let's just quickly just go over the women's. My opinion, I think, and I think what everybody's been saying, which we can agree, Tiffany's definitely struggling as trying to be the babyface here, where she definitely springs out more on being the heel, where I think she definitely should have stayed in that persona where Flair could have tried to be the babyface, but I think with her coming in and just automatically getting the title offense from the win at the Rumble definitely just screwed all that up, because you can't. I mean, everybody always comes and finds the fact that, oh, Charlotte's just gonna win, and she always does. So it's kind of hard to put her on a good side when she's always getting what she wants. So, yeah, it's kind of been hard to really get into that. I'd say out of this and the triple threat, I would be more excited for the triple threat, because I'm more of a Rhea fan than I am a Charlotte and Tiff at this point. But yeah, I think, even the triple threat has like some pros and cons to it. Io Sky's obviously going in as the champion, and she's, not like your marketable champion. So they're more putting the heavyweight on Bianca and Rhea, because I think that was the original build for it. But, it still just needs something. And I just don't think they're hitting it on the nail right now with it. So hopefully, just like how Jay and Gunther, they just had a big moment to really spark something off. Coming off of Raw, obviously, Rhea did not get the job done. So hopefully this is something that sparks the next Raw, where somehow it becomes the triple threat, or somehow, Rhea gets one more chance at this before Mania. I don't see that happening, but somehow it's going to come into the triple threat, and they're going to make it a triple threat eventually, because I don't think they're going to let Rhea get out of this without being in that match.
Right. Well, first of all, the match with Rhea and Io tonight was Botch City, USA. I don't know what it was, but they were so off from each other.
Yeah, they had a couple spots where it was a little cringe.
Yeah, I was like, what in the world is going on here? I didn't like. It seemed like Io was just off or something, or I didn't know what it was.
Right.
I was like, what is going on? I mean, there were good parts to the match. Don't get me wrong, but Bianca just throwing the match away. I was like, all right, well, this is good enough for Adam Pearce to be like, I designated you as a special guest referee, and you couldn't even give us a conclusive, definitive, like, championship winner for
you
you
took
to
it
face.
upon your hand to be like, putting your own judgment into this, instead of just, drawing it down the line and picking a winner. You had to put your own personal feelings into it.
Yep. So then I think Pierce is going to say, you brought this on, so you get to face the both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Pierce that just ultimately just says, hey, you three want to duke it out for the championship, just do it.
Yep.
Because obviously you guys can't make up the decision on your own. So the three, you just go in there, may the best win.
Yeah, and like, it's gonna, I think it's going to be a really good match itself. It's just getting there has been kind of a struggle bus, right? Um,
Yeah.
like they're just drawing it out. Um, I want to say overall, something that we haven't talked about is John Cena's schedule with him filming the movie in Budapest. Like he literally left the Elimination Chamber to go film in Budapest.
Right.
I feel like they booked this European tour so that they would be closer to him for his travel to be easier to get from the set
Mm,
back and forth. Like if if they
probably.
if they do that European tour again next year, I'll be like, okay, yeah, no, this is probably just going to be the move from now on because the European crowds are way better. And then
Oh yeah.
and then the 2 weeks before Mania, let's get everybody home. Let's have everybody close by so that they're not traveling too much, like right before Mania. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and like we said last week, those the European shows that they've been doing, I did call them glorified house shows. That's not to say that there isn't important stuff happening. Um, but I think we're going to get a lot of fireworks in the next 2 weeks, especially in Chicago on Friday, CM Punk's hometown. Like
Big
it's
CM Punk, thing.
the
So I think we're gonna heavily get some CM Punk territory on Friday. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to watch it because I'll be playing a gig, but I will definitely be tuning into the highlights. And I think Jim, you might be most likely be coming out to the show to see me, and I'll be hopefully looking for some highlights from you as well during it.
yeah,
But I definitely feel we're gonna get a big CM Punk moment at this,
yep.
being that it's his hometown. So
So
there's gonna be CM Punk chants all over that stadium.
maybe we get the favor disclosing in Chicago, and that place is going to just erupt, right? That's
Right.
it's wishful thinking, just because like we all want to know what's up and what it is. Um, I
Yeah.
and I do think overall that Triple H is testing the storytelling end of things where everything is just kind of falling into pieces, but like very, very sporadically. Um,
Yeah.
which to me is just him trying to cater towards the smart fans more so rather than so I do appreciate Kyle's post on eWrestling News. Thank you for that, and thank you for allowing us to be able to kind of piggyback off that and talk about it on this episode. Um,
Hmm.
I do think that this year's build, and I've talked about like this build is nothing like last year's. I think that Triple H is just storyline writing things just sporadically falling into place so that once it all culminates to WrestleMania, it's like, wow, that actually came together really nicely in the week leading up to WrestleMania. And then we have a great WrestleMania. And
Yeah.
then we're like, okay, Triple H knows what he's doing. You can do whatever you want from now on. Right. So
Exactly.
I am
All faith in Hunter
all
is
faith
now
in Hunter.
at yeah.
Yeah. I, I, I trust the guy. I think he knows what he's doing. I do think that there's some Raws where I'm like, this was just kind of meh. It was okay. Um, but like you said, you can't have fireworks every single week because then you get to WrestleMania and it doesn't feel as special, right?
Right.
So I'm I'm
Yeah.
being patient and trusting the process. And other than that, uh, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're both busy in the next couple weeks. It's going to be here before we know it. Um, anything else
Yeah.
before we want to wrap up this one?
I think that's good, man. Yeah, we got to talk about our feelings with the build this week. Let us know in the comments what you guys feel about the build for any of these matches. Let us know in the comments and see how you feel. Do you like what's going on? Do you think this year's Mania isn't, you know, really as appealing to you as you thought it was going to be? Are you, thinking that something's going to be happening in these next 2 weeks that's really going to change your mind and be like, okay, everything's working out. We're going to have the Mania we wanted. So let us know. And if you want, also, Make sure you're interacting with us and following us, liking, subscribing right here on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all at the handle of One Set Pod. Make sure you are hitting us up on our email. You have any questions or anything, feel free to hit us up on our Gmail. Go check out our Patreon. We have some free tiers and we have some paid tiers. And also, if you want to also support the pod, make sure you go check out our merch, pick up some t-shirts, hoodies, and give a gift to somebody. You never know. But yeah, Jim, one last time, let everybody know where's the best discussion to have with the One Set Bros.
The One Set Fam Facebook group. It's definitely a community that we are building for our fam, our One Set Fam, our followers of this podcast. Right now it's a lot of wrestling talk, but it will be engaging in all of the sports stuff that we do, all of the watch-alongs that we do, the movies, the TV shows that we do,
Yes.
anything music related on Anthony's end, and anything dance related on my end. Um, and more. I mean, we cover kind of a wide spectrum of things on this podcast. But right now, obviously, the lead up to WrestleMania, it's a lot of wrestle talk. So if
Mm-hmm.
you are still listening to this podcast, you are probably a wrestling fan, like this episode specifically.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely check out One Set Fam. We have posts basically every day on there, and we have conversations rolling. I feel like a lot of um, Facebook, maybe not as much now, but like 2, 3 to 5 years ago, it was just here's a post, and it was just reactions to it. It wasn't a lot of conversation talking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we we've definitely been seeing a lot of good response to that, even with just the maybe dozen of people that are in the group right now. So we're excited for that to bloom and grow and jump in on
Yeah.
it, get into
We're
it.
definitely getting the interactions we want, and the goal of it, like I said, is to just continue to build our community. So make sure you guys are joining us, even if you're there. If you're finding us out for the first time, go over there, check it out. Some friendly people, meet some new people, like-minded people, and you guys get to hang out with us 24/7. Get the talk and chat. We like to meet new people. So the One Set Fam Facebook group chat is where you need to be outside of the episodes.
Yeah, man. Other than that, Anth brother, I love you. Thank you so much for another week in episode. This is episode number 170 now. It's crazy. We
170.
30 weeks out from episode 200, and it's time to start cooking on that challenge, bro.
Yeah, man.
After WrestleMania, we are going to be cooking on our challenges. If you aren't sure,
Absolutely.
if you aren't tuned into that, you're in for a doozy. Stay tuned.
Yeah, gonna be fun.
Everybody, thank you so much. All the love to you. This has been One Set.
See y'all next week.